Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Ivy English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today we have an article about one of the most famous people in history, and she has such an interesting story to her life. The title of the article, of course, will introduce this person to you, Marie Curie, the mother of modern physics.
我们的中文标题是伟大的女性科学家居里夫人。
I'll read through the paragraphs here. We have 4 of them in the article. Then we'll go back to explain each and every sentence for you. Marie Curie is a woman who absolutely shattered public misconceptions regarding female intelligence and all its associated potentials. She turned the scientific world on its head by being the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize. Her discoveries greatly contributed to the fields of physics and chemistry and helped form the basis of modern radiology. Marie Curie was born in Warsaw, Poland, in November of 1867 as Maria Salomea Skłodowska. She had an older sister named Bronisława, and the two were raised by parents who were both teachers. Both girls soon developed an aptitude for learning. At 24, Maria moved to Paris and changed her name to Marie. She then enrolled at the University of Sorbonne. Between 1893 and 1894, Marie earned master's degrees in physics and mathematics. She met her future husband, Pierre Curie, and began studying the element uranium, which had been discovered by Henri Becquerel. She coined the term radioactivity when she noticed that it emitted radiation. She discovered 2 new elements, one which she named polonium, after Poland, and the other which she named radium. In 1903, she became the first woman in France to obtain a doctorate in science. That same year, she shared the Nobel Prize for Physics with Pierre Curie and Henri Becquerel. After Pierre's death in 1906, she took over his teaching position at the University of Sorbonne, becoming the first woman to teach there. In 1911, Marie became the sole winner of the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. She is the first and only woman to have won 2. Unfortunately, her constant exposure to radioactivity destroyed her body's ability to produce red blood cells, and she died of aplastic anemia in 1934 at the age of 67.
So Marie Curie is a woman who absolutely shattered public misconceptions. If you absolutely shatter something, is you makes people completely aware of something, or completely break their original misconception or break their assumption. So she shattered misconceptions regarding female intelligence and all its associated potentials. Basically, she showed everybody that women are smart and can do anything that a man can.
OK， 好，我们看到这个句子，他说这个 Marie Curie 啊，就是居里夫人呢，她是一位女性，她 absolutely， 她绝对的啊，她真正的 shattered 粉碎了 public misconceptions 大众的一些 misconceptions 就是误解啊，错误的认知啊，那她粉碎大众错误的认知，关于什么的错误认知呢？ Regarding 这个错误认知是有关于 female intelligence 女性智力的一些错误认知啊，那也就是说大家那个时候的人可能觉得女生啊这个头脑不好，还是不要读科学啊，这个其实在19世纪很常见啊，19世纪的美国还有很多人认为说这个女生如果生病的话，最好的办法就躺在床上什么都不要做，然后什么都不要想啊，因为他们的 feeble brain 啊，他们那个不行的很弱的脑袋啊，会把他们自己想的脑袋坏掉啊，所以这个是当时这个对女性的非常重要的、非常恐怖的这个歧见，好，所以也是一种歧视啊。所以这个居里夫人 粉碎了这些大众的这些对于女性智力的一些错误的认知。好，还有他也粉碎了所有的 associated 就是相关的 potentials， 也就是女性其实是有潜力的，她们有 potentials， 她们有发展潜力的。可是当时的人呢，还是很多人都觉得，尤其男性啊，觉得说，女生还是不要发展了，就在家里面乖乖的当一个家庭主妇就可以了。
She turned the scientific world on its head by being the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize. This is part of this absolutely shattered misconceptions. If you turn something on its head, you completely change. You do a 180-degree different approach to something, or you realize or you think something opposite to what you had always expected before. When she received a Nobel Prize, she was the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize, which showed that men and women can both receive Nobel Prizes.
好，所以呢，他 turned something on its head， 就是to turn something upside down， 也就是 to completely change something。所以他完全改变了，他彻底推翻了或者他完全改变了这个科学的世界 ，the scientific world。那他为什么会他改变整个科学的世界呢？因为他成为了 the first woman to do something， 就是他成为了做这件事情的第一位女性。做什么事情呢？他获得了诺贝尔奖，所以她是第一位获颁诺贝尔奖的女性，所以她改变了整个的科学的世界。因为让大家知道说，女性也可以学理工，也可以拿到诺贝尔的这个理工方面的这个诺贝尔奖。
So her discoveries greatly contributed to the fields of physics and chemistry. She advanced them enormously and helped form the basis of modern radiology. Without her and her husband's work, we wouldn't have modern radiology.
Yeah, 好，所以她的发现呢 ，greatly 很大的 contributed to， 所以就有对什么有贡献，所以 greatly contributed to 就是大大的对什么有贡献。对什么有大大的贡献呢？对于 the fields of physics and chemistry， 对于物理和化学领域都有很大的贡献，而且呢，帮忙 form the basis of， 它帮忙形成了基础，什么的基础呢？现代放射学的基础 modern radiology， 所以它对于人类对于科学界贡献非常的大。
Marie Curie was born in Warsaw, Poland in November of 1867 as Maria Salomea Skłodowska. So Polish is a Slavic language, an Eastern European language. Warsaw is the capital and largest city of Poland, where she was born.
所以她在1867年11月生在波兰的华沙。她原名我就不念了，这个是她原来的名字。
Actually, she was very proud of her Polish heritage, and the fact that she married a Frenchman made her last name French bothered her endlessly because she wanted her Polish name to be recognized by the world. Because Poland has been sort of like denigrated by everyone else as being behind and backwards, and she wanted to be like, no, Poland is just as important a country.
Yeah, 所以我不念她的名字，是因为对她的这个波兰文很尊敬我不想把它念错了，把它念坏了所以这个刚刚的 Angela 老师马上提醒我说，这个居里夫人其实对她的波兰名字非常的这个认真看待，非常的骄傲。她认为大家应该都要去学她的名字在波兰文怎么发音那后来她名字变成这个变成这个法文化之后呢，她其实有一点 upset 她觉得说，哎呀，我的名字怎么变这个样子？
She wanted to represent Poland and not France.
Yeah, 她想要代表的是波兰而不是法国。
So she had an
She wasn't the only Pole who turned the world on its head.
Oh, who's another one?
Copernicus.
Oh, Copernicus was Polish, that's right. But he had kind of an Italian name. So again, he's not doing a good job representing Poland. Copernicus is an Italian name, is it not?
No.
No, really?
No.
Oh, I'm wrong. Okay, so she meaning Marie Curie, had an older sister named Branislava, and the two were raised by parents who were both teachers. And what's cool, I just read in Wikipedia that these two girls supported each other through school. They made an agreement that one would work for 2 years to support the other one, and then they switched around.
Wow.
Like, these are women that knew how to support each other.
All right.
所以她们姐妹彼此这个帮助对方完成学业 一个人可能会读这个可能会去工作，让另外一个人读2年书，然后换另外一个人再去工作，让这个彼此都能够读书啊。所以他有一个姐姐啊 ，older sister， 名字啊叫做又是另外一个很优美的波兰文哈。然后呢 ，the two 就是他们2位呢 were raised by 就是被谁抚养呢？被 parents 被父母亲，而他父母亲2位都是教师，所以显然对他们姐妹的教育也是蛮看重的。
Both girls soon developed an aptitude for learning. If you have an aptitude for something, it comes easy to you. It's something that you seem naturally to like and be able to do. And the suggestion here is their parents were both teachers, so both girls soon developed. That doesn't always happen, but it wouldn't surprise us if the children of teachers become teachers themselves.
It's much more likely than if the children of laborers to become teachers.
Right.
Yeah, 因为真的家庭环境很重要哈，所以他说2位这个女孩呢，很快就 developed， 很快就发展出，很快就养成了一个 an aptitude for learning 哈 ，aptitude 通常是一种天赋哈，后面常常会加 for 哈，那这个所以很快他们2个人就觉得他们很适合学习啊，学习起来非常的这个学得很快。
At 24, Maria moved to Paris and changed her name to Marie, I think just to blend in because it's easier if people call you by the name that's familiar to them in that country.
Yeah, 24岁的时候她搬到巴黎，然后把她名字改成 Marie.
She then enrolled at the University of Sorbonne, one of the most famous of the many fine French universities.
Yeah, 所以是一个法国很有名的大学。好，那她接下来说 enrolled 好 at the university 好，就那 enroll 就是进入某个学校去就读好，那个 roll 其实就是那个点名单呐，那 in 就是进入好，所以进入那个点名单也就是这个进入他们的这个学校了哈。To make officially the member of a group 叫做 enroll 啊，我们英文常常讲说 enroll in college。
Now, between 1893 and 1894, she earned master's degrees in physics and mathematics. She did these both at the same time in the same year in the 2 hardest subjects. So, okay, just want you to know. I want you to know this woman is really, she's a powerhouse.
不容易哈，而且她1年就得到了哈。她在1893到1894年的时候呢，她他获得了啊，这个 earn 在这里通常我们这样获得，因为它后面是学位哈，他获得了这个硕士学位啊，而且是2个硕士学位 degrees 啊，他是2个硕士学位，那一个是物理的 physics， 一个是 mathematics， 一个是数学的哈，2个硕士学位1年之后拿到了。
It's not just about the smarts, it's about the sheer amount of work she had to do to complete all the degree requirements as well.
真的不容易哈，这个不只是他聪明，他还要做很多很多，因为你要拿到学位，可能要有论文啊，要做很多实验啊等等的哈，他都做到了。
She met her future husband Pierre Curie and began studying the element uranium, that's number 92, which had been discovered by Henri Becquerel, another Frenchman.
OK， 好，那他遇到他未来的先生，好，这个 Pierre Curie， 然后他开始研究啊 ，the element 就是这个元素铀这个元素哈 uranium， 然后呢，这个铀这个元素呢 ，which had been discovered， 它被谁发现的呢？被另外一位哈，这个也是个法国的科学家所发现的。
She coined the term radioactivity, meaning actively emitting radiation.When she noticed that it emitted or gave off radiation, she's like, ooh, let's name this. Let's call it radioactivity.
这个 coin 这个字呢，就创造一个新词啊，所以他 invent 好这个一个 new word， 他创造了这一个 term 这一个词啊 ，radioactivity 就是放射性这个词啊。那当他 noticed that， 当他注意到说 it 啊这个元素它会 emitted radiation 啊。emit 这个字呢，就是发射或者是放射的意思。那个 e 就是 out， 那个 emit 就是 send 的意思。好，所以我们讲说 transmit 啊，就是 to send 那个 trans across， 所以 transmit 就是 to send across， 也就是发射的意思。或者是 submit 是成交递交一个东西，好，那个 sub 是 under， 好，那这个 mit 也是一样 send， 所以 to send under 或者是 to place under 就是我交出去放在你的这个眼下让你去看一看，好，所以这个 mit 这个字根也很常见，所以他发现到他会 emit 会放射会 send out radiation 这个放射线，所以他就叫它放射性 radioactivity。
She discovered 2 new elements, one which she named polonium, and she chose that name to show respect and love for her homeland, Poland, and the other which she named radium, which may have been influenced by the term she coined radioactivity. To radiate is to send out or emit. And both of those elements are also very, very far down, they say, the table of natural elements. Uranium is number 92 on the list, and polonium and radium are in the 70s or 80s. They're considered very heavy elements naturally.
好，他发现了2个化学的元素哈 ，elements 在这里指的是化学元素。One which he named 他其中一个他给他取名叫做破啊，那个一个金字旁啊，在一个这个卜卦的那个卜啊，叫破。因为这个跟波兰啊，他是等于说他为了他波兰祖国他命名啊，这一个叫做破。那另外一个呢，他命名为 radium， 就是镭啊，这2个化学元素。
In 1903, she became the first woman in France to obtain or get a doctorate in science. That means she got her PhD in science and she was the first one.
Yeah, 所以1903年她成为法国第一位女性，第一位获得这个理科博士学位的一个女性。Doctorate 就是博士学位的意思，那 in science 就是在科学在理科方面的博士。
That same year, 1903, she shared the Nobel Prize for Physics with Pierre Curie and Henri Becquerel. So we're back to 1903, and she shared the Nobel Prize for Physics. That year it was given to 3 people, Marie Curie, her husband Pierre, and Henri Becquerel, someone that they shared a lot of chemistry and physics work with.
好，所以 that same year 表示1903年呢，他跟另外他的先生还有这个另外这位法国科学家发现这个铀的这位法国科学家，他们3个人呢 shared， 他们共享，他们共同获得了诺贝尔物理奖。
After Pierre's death in 1906, she took over his teaching position at the University of Sorbonne, becoming the first woman to teach there. And it's not that women weren't qualified to teach there, it's just that they didn't think that women were qualified to teach there until Marie Curie proved them wrong.
Yeah, 所以在他先生1906年过世的时候呢，他就 took over， 他就接任了，接过来了他的 teaching position， 他的教职，在刚刚那个索邦大学的教职，所以这也是很不容易的事情。因为他 becoming， 他成为了 the first woman to teach there， 他成为了第一位在这个索邦大学法国一个很好的大学，她成为第一位在那里任教的女性。
In 1911, Marie became the sole winner of the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. So she already had one that she shared with her husband and Professor Becquerel. But in 1911, the Nobel Prize Committee gave only Marie Curie their prize for chemistry.
所以1911年呢，她成为the sole， 就是单独的 winner 的这个得奖的这个人是诺贝尔化学奖的得奖的这个人那 sole 这个字它很好玩它有另外一个字斜这个脚掌脚底那个也是 sole 2个拼法一模一样，但是这个地方这个 sole 是单独是 alone 的意思，那这2个 sole 拼法一样，但是他们在拉丁文里面的字根是不一样的所以只是后来演变到2个字长得都一样了那我在这里它是 alone 单独的意思，那另外一个那个脚掌脚底呢，我们常常讲的鞋的鞋底，就我们可以叫做 the soles of her shoes 所以这2个字长得一样，但是字根不同 那在这里这个 sole 是单独的意思。我们常常讲的 sole， 这个 sole 一定是放在名词前面啊，例如说 the sole survivor 啊，他是唯一的幸存者啊，这个是 sole， 就是 being the only one 的意思。
So she is the first and only woman to have won 2 Nobel Prizes.
好，那她是第一位啊赢得2个诺贝尔奖的女性，而且她是唯一的一位女性，到目前为止没有另外一位女性能够获得2个诺贝尔奖。
Unfortunately, her constant exposure to radioactivity destroyed her body's ability to produce red blood cells. This is why people are very concerned and should be very concerned about, say, a little thing like a nuclear war, because the bombs produce so much radioactivity, they will kill all living things within a large area of where the bomb is exploded. And people didn't know this just 120 years ago. That was news to them. But because she worked with these radioactive elements, particularly uranium, she had constant exposure. She worked with them maybe even on a daily basis, or they were kept in her study. They were kept in their home. So there was radioactivity all the time where she lived and worked. And this radioactivity destroyed her body's ability. Her body was no longer able to produce red blood cells. And you can imagine if you don't have enough blood, you will die. She died of a blood condition called aplastic anemia. Anemia refers to not enough red blood cells in the body. She died in 1934 at the age of 67.
Unfortunately, 就是很不幸地，它的 constant exposure 啊 ，constant 就是持续的啊 ，continual 或者 continuing without pause 啊，它的持续的这个 exposure to exposure 是暴露的意思啊。那这2个字的字根都蛮有趣的 ，constant 这个 con 是加强语气的，那个 sta 就是 stand， 所以一直站在那边，所以非常的持续啊。那 exposure ex 是 out， 那个 pos是 put 或者 place 或者 set 放的意思，所以放到外面去的就是暴露了嘛啊。所以它的 constant exposure to radioactivity， 它对于放射性物质，它持续的这个暴露在放射线之下呢，就 destroyed her body's ability， 它就摧毁了她身体的能力。什么能力呢？ ability to produce red blood cells， 她身体制造红血球的能力啊 ，blood cells 就是血球，那 red blood cells 就是红血球，所以摧毁了她身体制造红血球的能力。然后呢 ，she died of， 她就死于aplastic anemia， 这个 aplastic 就是没有办法再 regenerate blood cells 啊的这个状况，也就是没有办法再生啊。那 anemia 就是贫血，所以 aplastic anemia 中文叫做再生不良性贫血，就是他再生的能力不够了，所以再生不良性的贫血，所以他死于这个再生不良性贫血，在1934年。那 at the age of 他享年67岁。
And now we have a couple of reading comprehension questions for you. The first of which is, how many of Marie Curie's firsts are outlined in the passage?
好，本文当中呢，有几个这个居里夫人的第一次达成的事情啊，就由她第一次做到的，是在这个文章里面有提到几个。
There's 4.
That's right.
总共有4个 ，Yeah.
The first woman to receive a Nobel Prize, the first woman in France to get a doctorate in science, the first woman to teach at the University of Sorbonne, and the first and only woman to have won 2 Nobel Prizes.
所以有4个 first, there are 4 firsts.
Okay, and so number 2 is what is most tragic about Marie Curie's life?
好，那居里夫人她最悲剧性的，她一生里面最悲剧性的是什么事情呢？
Yeah, unfortunately, she died of aplastic anemia because her constant exposure to radioactivity destroyed her body's ability to produce red blood cells.
好，答案是最悲剧的就是她死于再生不良性贫血啊，因为她 必须要不断的暴露在放射线当中啊，那所以放射线就破坏了他身体产生红血球的能力。
All right, that's it for today's biography, today's lesson on Marie Curie. We will be back, but not until near the end of this month, and we look forward to serving you again. Until then,
Bye-bye.